Hello, good morning. So, we are learning financial accounting. So, in this financial accounting, so far we have learned preparation of financial statements. That means profit and loss account, balance sheet, and so on, so on. Today, let us learn depreciation. So, this is a very important topic in financial accounting, without which no financial statements are prepared. So that it's a very important one. Let's learn it. Meaning of depreciation. The word depreciation is derived from the Latin word depretium. D means decline and pretium means price. It is the decline in the price or value of fixed assets. Fixed assets are used for business purposes, and with the passage of time and the constant use of an asset, the value of the asset declines. Thus, depreciation is the gradual and permanent decrease in the value of an asset due to wear and tear, efflux of time, obsolescence, or any other cause. As the asset is used for business purposes, the annual decrease in the value of an asset is like any other expense and should be deducted from the revenue of the business in order to determine the income earned by the business. So that this depreciation was defined by so many intellectuals. Fickle defines it as depreciation is the permanent and continuing diminution in the quality, quantity, or value of an asset. In the same way, Spicer and Pegler also defined the depreciation as the measure of the exhaustion of the effective life of an asset from any cause during a given period. And another definition of depreciation is given by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants as a system of accounting which aims to distribute the cost or other basic value of tangible capital assets less salvage, if any, over the estimated useful life of the unit in a systematic and rational manner. It is a process of allocation and not of valuation. So, with these definitions, it is concluded that depreciation is having some specific characteristics. Those are: one, depreciation refers to a permanent and gradual decrease in the value of a fixed asset. The depreciation is calculated only in respect of fixed assets. It does not mean the decrease in the value of current assets. Another feature is depreciation is a continuous process. It continues till the end of useful life of the asset. Depreciation is charged against the revenue of the period. The true income of a business cannot be ascertained without charging depreciation. Depreciation is a process of allocation of expired cost of an asset. It is not the basis for measuring the decrease in the market value of an asset. Another feature is depreciation is bound to happen. All fixed assets with certain exceptions like land, antiques, etc. lose value. Although the process may be gradual. The term depreciation is used only in respect of tangible fixed assets. It is not used in case of wasting and fictitious assets such as depletion of natural resources and amortization of goodwill. The depreciation does not include maintenance cost of the asset. It is the process of allocation of the cost of an asset over its useful life. Repairs and maintenance charges are separately charged against the profits of the business. See, these are the specific and important characteristics of depreciation. Since it is having some specific characteristics, we have known them. Now, why the depreciation causes? So, what are the reasons for depreciation? Those are causes of depreciation. See, generally, causes of depreciation will be physical wear and tear, effluxion of time, obsolescence, depletion, and accidents. Let us know one by one. When it comes to physical wear and tear, tangible fixed assets like building, machinery are worn or torn out on account of constant use of an asset, strain, withering out, lack of adequate maintenance, improper handling, etc. All fixed assets are bound to lose value on account of wear and tear. The second cause is effluxion of time. There are certain assets which decrease in the value with the passage of time. It is especially true in case of certain intangible assets like leasehold properties, copyrights, patents, etc. The term amortization is used in respect of fall in the value of such assets. Another cause of depreciation is obsolescence. Certain fixed assets lose value on account of obsolescence, which is caused by new inventions, technological improvements, loss of demand due to change in fashion, tastes or habits of consumers. It reduces the existing economic life of an asset. So now let us know the depletion, which causes depreciation. Depletion is the decrease in the value of wasting assets such as mines, quarries, oil wells, etc. Such assets get exhausted on account of continuous extraction. And the last cause of depreciation is accidents. The asset loses its value if it meets with an accident. And an accident means breakdown of an asset which decreases the value of an asset. So, these are the general causes of depreciation. These are to be calculated. Now, we should know some difference between some terms which are similar in meaning, but they have different. See, depreciation, depletion and amortization are seems to be like same, but they are having different meaning. Depreciation is used in respect of tangible fixed assets. It is the process of charging the cost of fixed asset over the useful life of an asset. So, for this we use the word depreciation. When it comes to depletion, depletion is the process of measuring the exhaustion of natural resources such as mines, quarries, oil wells, etc. Depletion is the accounting process of recording the cost of resources exhausted as an expense in the books of accounts. And the third term, amortization. The amortization is used for recording the writing of intangible assets like patents, copyrights, leasehold properties and trademarks, etc. See, this is the exact difference between depreciation, depletion, amortization. Right. Now, let us learn about meaning of depreciation accounting. Meaning of depreciation accounting. So, it is essential to know how to record depreciation in the books of account. Depreciation accounting is the systematic distribution of cost over the estimated useful life of an asset. So that AICPA, American Institute of Certified Public Accountants, defines depreciation accounting as a system of accounting which aims to distribute the cost of the other basic values of the tangible capital assets less salvage, if any, over the estimated useful life of the asset, which may be group of assets, in a systematic and rational manner. It is the process of allocation and not of valuation, which was already we have known. So, as per this definition, we can know some points. It is not concerned with the measurement of market value of an asset. It is a system of accounting which distributes the cost of an asset over the useful life of an asset. It is just the process of allocation of cost of an asset and charged against the profits of the enterprise. Depreciation is not a provision of funds or cash for replacement of an asset at the end of its useful life. So, that is the meaning of depreciation of accounting. So that it has some specific objectives for providing depreciation. They are: one is to ascertain the profits. This is the basic objective for providing depreciation. The businessman or business enterprise calculates the profits of an enterprise when all costs of earning revenue are charged against them fall in the value of an asset is the cost of earning revenue from the use of an asset and should be charged against the revenue. Otherwise, true profit cannot be ascertained. True profit cannot be ascertained. Second objective is, or another as objective is, to ascertain the correct financial position. Fixed assets lose value on account of certain factors which are explained above. Therefore, it is important that the assets are shown in the balance sheet at its actual value. Otherwise, the balance sheet will fail to provide true state of affairs. This is one of the objectives for providing depreciation. Another objective is to provide funds for replacement of assets. The businessman uses the assets for productive purposes and with constant use, the asset requires replacement at the end of its useful life. The provision of depreciation by the method of sinking fund provides dual advantage of depreciation of an asset and accumulating necessary funds for replacement of an asset. This objective gives a specific information about replacement of an asset. And another objective is to keep proper account of cost of production. Depreciation is a part of cost of production. If depreciation is not recorded, the true cost of production cannot be ascertained. And incidental benefits. Provision of depreciation provides certain other incidental benefits as well. The amount of depreciation is a deductible expense for tax purposes, thus it reduces tax liability. Similarly, the amount of depreciation reduces the profits after depreciation. As a result, tax liability is reduced and less dividend needs to be distributed, which saves the cash resources of an enterprise. To ascertain the profits, to ascertain the correct financial position, to provide funds for replacement of assets, to keep proper account of cost of production, and incidental benefits are the objectives for providing depreciation. As we are having these objectives, only we will be calculating depreciation and we are recording in the financial accounts. Next one is important factors in the measurement of depreciation. There are three important factors which should be considered for determining the amount of depreciation which are described as: one is cost of the asset, another one is estimated useful life of the asset, and the last one is estimated scrap value. Cost of the asset means, the cost of the asset means the invoice price of the asset plus all the expenses incurred to bring the asset in a usable condition, such as freight charges, installation charges, the cost of repairs before its first time use. It should be noted that interest cost on borrowed funds and other financing charges should not be included in the cost price of an asset. When it comes to estimated useful life of the asset, the estimated useful life of the asset is calculated in terms of years, months, units of output or other operating measures such as kilometers in case of taxi. It is also known as the economic life of the asset, which is affected by obsolescence, standards of maintenance, the rate of depreciation, etc. The useful life of an asset is generally shorter than the physical life of an asset. Third important factor is estimated scrap value. The scrap value is the residual or salvage value which is expected to be realized on account of sale of the asset at the end of its useful life. The estimated scrap value should be calculated after deducting the cost of disposal and removal of an asset. So, these are the three important factors for measuring depreciation. Now, let us know the methods of recording depreciation. These are two types. When a provision for depreciation accounting is to be maintained, when no provision for depreciation accounting is maintained. In the first case, that means when a provision for depreciation account is to be maintained. In case of this method, the amount of depreciation to be charged in a particular year is credited to provision for depreciation account and debited to profit and loss account. The asset continues to be shown at its original cost till it is sold off or destroyed or discarded. When the asset is sold, the provision for depreciation account is transferred to the asset account. Any amount which is realized on the sale of the asset is credited to the asset account. The balance, if any, in the asset account is taken to the profit and loss account. In this method, we have to pass some entries. For provision of depreciation, depreciation account debtor to provision for depreciation account is to be passed. For transfer of depreciation to profit and loss account, entry is profit and loss account debtor to depreciation account. When the asset is sold, the total accumulated depreciation for the asset is transferred to that asset account by the entry, that is provision for depreciation account debtor to asset account. In case of profit or loss on sale of an asset, if we gain profit, asset account debtor to profit and loss account. If loss is incurred, profit and loss account debtor to asset account. The second method, when no provision for depreciation account is maintained. In case a provision for depreciation account is not maintained, the amount of depreciation is debited to the asset depreciation account and charged to asset account. The asset account appears in the balance sheet at its reduced value. Then we have to pass some entries. First one is for provision of depreciation, depreciation account debtor to asset account. For transfer of depreciation to profit and loss account, profit and loss account debtor to depreciation account, on the sale of an asset, bank or cash account debtor to asset account. Finally, in case of profit gain, asset account debtor to profit and loss account. If loss is incurred, profit and loss account debtor to asset account. See, these are the entries should be passed in these two methods. To calculate the depreciation, we have so many methods like fixed installment method, depletion method, machine hour rate method, diminishing balance method, sum of years digits method, double declining method, group depreciation method, inventory system of depreciation method, insurance policy method, and annuity method. Like we have various methods, but in our financial accounting, as per the syllabus, so we have to learn only two methods. They are, one is fixed installment method and another one is diminishing balance method. Let us know these two methods clearly. This is very, very important. See, as per this fixed installment method, a fixed proportion of the original cost of the asset is written off each year, so that value of the asset is reduced to its residual value at the end of its estimated economic useful life. The same amount of depreciation is charged every year throughout the life of the asset, so that this method is also called straight line method. Depreciation is charged on a uniform basis every year till the asset is written off. The amount of depreciation is calculated like this. Amount of depreciation is equal to original cost of the fixed asset minus estimated scrap value by life of the asset in number of years. So with this principle we can calculate depreciation, annual depreciation. When we want to calculate percentage of depreciation, then the principle is annual depreciation into 100 by original cost of asset. Say for example, a machine is acquired at a cost of rupees 1 lakh. Its estimated useful life is 5 years. Installation expenses amounted to rupees 10,000. Its scrap value will be 10,000. Now let us calculate the depreciation. See, original cost is 1 lakh and installation expenses 10,000. Both these are to be added. Scrap value is 10,000. This has to be deducted from the 1,10,000. This net value of 1 lakh is to be divided by life of the asset in number of years, that is 5. That means we will get 20,000 depreciation per year. 20,000 depreciation per year. Rate of depreciation for this is 20,000 into 100 by original cost of asset including installation charges, that means 1,10,000. Then we will get 18%. Annual rate of depreciation on this asset is 18%. So, like this we have to calculate annual depreciation of a particular asset. As it is a simple method of calculation of depreciation, it is having some advantages and also having some disadvantages. Let us see them. Advantages of fixed installment method are: it is a simple and easy method. It is easy to understand. It is easy to calculate. Everybody can understand it. Another advantage is the value of the asset can be written off. That is, the value can be reduced to 0. To calculate depreciation, we have so many methods. Out of these all methods, this is the only method which can makes the asset value to 0. This is the specific advantage this method is having. Another advantage is this method is suitable where assets get depreciated with the passage of time. For example, patents, leasehold, etc. These intangible assets can be, value of these assets can be made 0. So, this is a very easy one. Of course, it is easy, having some advantage, but also it is having some disadvantages. One is, this method tended to report an increasing rate on investment since the net balance of the asset is taken. It does not take into account the effective utilization of the asset. The same amount of depreciation is charged irrespective of rate of use of the asset. Third disadvantage is, even though the asset is used uniformly from period to period, the total charge for the use of the asset keeps on increasing every year. It is because cost of repairs increases when the asset gets older. The same amount of depreciation is charged every year, which is not right. This is one of the methods for calculation of depreciation. Another method is diminishing balance method. Diminishing balance method. This method is also known as reducing balance method. Under this method, the depreciation is charged at a fixed rate on the reducing balance, that is costless depreciation every year. The amount of depreciation charged in each period is not fixed but goes on decreasing gradually every year. Thus, the amount of depreciation is higher in earlier periods and lower in subsequent periods when repairs and maintenance of cost of the asset increases. The formula for calculating the rate of depreciation under diminishing balance method is rate of depreciation is called 1 minus n under root of net residual value by cost of acquisition of asset, where n is equal to economic life of the asset in number of years. Say for example, if the cost of the asset is 10,000, its scrap value is 1,000. That means residual value is 1,000, and the economic life of the asset is 3 years per se. The rate of depreciation would be calculated with this principle: 1 minus n is equal to number of years 3, net residual value is 1,000, cost of acquisition of asset is 10,000, will get 53.6%. 53.6%. So, in this manner we have to calculate the rate of depreciation. Rate of depreciation. This method is having so many advantages and also disadvantages. Let us know them one by one. Advantages of diminishing balance method are: it equalizes the burden on profit and loss account in respect of repairs and depreciation put together. It is because as the asset gets older, the amount of depreciation goes on decreasing while the expenses of repairs go on increasing, so that the total charge to profit and loss account over the years remains almost equal. Second advantage is, this method reduces the impact of tax on profit during the earlier years of the life of the asset by charging higher amount of depreciation, as it is believed that money saved today is better than money saved tomorrow. Another advantage is, this method is recognized by income tax authorities, so that this method is used by so many business enterprises. Of course, this method is having advantages but also having some disadvantages. They are: it is difficult to determine the appropriate rate of depreciation. The value of the asset cannot be reduced to zero, and some balance will always be left at the end of useful life of an asset, not like in the fixed installment method. Though it is having some disadvantages. Popularly used method is diminishing balance method in the public enterprises. See, as part of the degree UG curriculum syllabus, we are having only these two methods. But as I earlier stated, there are so many methods. As and when they are required, you will be informed about the other methods. So, with these two methods, we can calculate the depreciation in a systematic manner. They can be entered in the books of accounts. So, that's all for today's lecture. With another topic, I will come to you for a next class. Thank you.